Hello, my loves. I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on my channel, where we are talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. So no matter what stage you are in this cycle, my work is for you, my program is for you. But if you haven't seen, guys, I put a community post in yesterday so that you can get to ask your questions, and I'm going to do videos, the videos that I know will be good for you, as well as like respond to your requests, right? Because I think that's a really cool thing to do. And this question came up about really wanting some clarity on how to handle regressing after having done massive amounts of inner work due to being constantly exposed to narcissistic treatment. This is a great question, right? And there's a lot of things that come up for us when we think we've gone backwards, right? I teach people all the time that I don't teach you, right, that you've succeeded if you've just gone no contact. A lot of narcissistic abuse recovery coaches say go no contact and that's the solution. I promise you, I've worked with people that have 10 years gone no contact. They are still bound in chains energetically and emotionally because they haven't healed the trauma. Sometimes they go back into other cycles. Sometimes they just isolate from the fucking world, sorry for swearing, from the world, because they haven't healed enough. They're not ready to actually recreate a better life for themselves. So again, in my work, we do healing and transformation work. It's a combination, an integrated approach of deep trauma release, as well as the tools you need to build a life that will work for you, right? Because just going no contact doesn't mean it's not basic. The narcissist isn't like literally still in your head, in your energy field, controlling you, even without proximity. Proximity to a narcissist isn't the key to their control. In fact, most of what goes on in these cycles is the psychic and energetic and spiritual attack, right? So just leaving doesn't mean it's going to be enough. And doing a lot of the inner work without the extra element which I teach you in Sovereign of transformation work, right, which is to rebuild yourself into the real authentic version, and the version that knows how to have boundaries, knows how to get their dreams come true, knows how to connect, knows how to do the things that you didn't know that you thought you needed the narcissist for, because you didn't know that you could create by yourself, basically, without this cycle. Doesn't sort of equal the freedom that we think. So healing without the transformation isn't enough, and that's why my work's different. But I want to talk today about just what goes on personally, because I want you to know often relapse is part of recovery in anything, in addictions, in enmeshments with narcissists. So the first thing I need you to know, do not beat yourself up. Sometimes relapse is part of recovery. Secondly, you have to, right, so I teach this because I've been a coach for many years with people as well. Like, we tend to see things as black and white in our brain, like very, very kind of extreme versions of what success and failure looks like, yeah? What we tend to miss is tracking our progress. Even if you've gone back to the narcissist, I need you to, not just be gentle with yourself, right? Be gentle with yourself, because we get caught up in a lot more fear, guilt and shame when we repeat a cycle. We really do tend to be very hard on ourselves. We think that we're a complete failure, we can never get out of it, and we spend a lot of time in frustration and actually kind of anger with ourselves. That's the thing that I need you to transcend. Be easier on yourself, right? Understand that you're not tracking the extreme success of complete freedom and sovereignty. What you're tracking is your progress. If you have done a lot of inner work and gone back to a narcissist, I bet you've gone back conscious. I bet you've gone back not the same, right? This time you are seeing it, and you can't unsee what you've seen. Yeah. When we were first narcissistically abused, we were unconscious. We didn't see it. We didn't know what it was. We didn't know what's going on. But this time round, you are conscious. So I need you to track progress. I have a course called Living from Abundance, and to shift your vibration to abundance, it's about tracking growth, right? Not just the final result. We get so caught up in our human minds of, I'm only healed if I never have a thought again about the narcissist. I'm only healed if I've now got a successful relationship or business or whatever. Look, you get there from being aware of your growth. So even if you've regressed, you've gone back conscious, I want you to journal on, write down what's different. I see this pattern for what it is. I am setting boundaries. I'm no longer as triggered. It's not putting me back in the old way. You know, even if you hit a rock bottom, I promise you at each stage during your kind of, because this is a spiritual awakening to come out of this, your elevation, your ascension, the rock bottom won't be as low as it's been before each time, generally. Unless you've really gone back and been highly re-traumatized into the cycle. If you are on a growth journey and you have been sustaining general growth and ascension, your rock bottom won't be as low. You're still going to go down again sometimes, but it won't be as low. So I need you to track progress. And biggest thing is to learn to love yourself through, which is really hard sometimes, what seems like the failure of the regression, the helplessness, the hopelessness that re-triggers all those past traumas, but actually see that there is a difference this time. I do see it for what it is this time. The only reason we go back to the narcissist basically is the same reasons we were with them in the first place. There's big unmet needs that are not met either in our childhood and adulthood lives emotionally, could be both, and the fear that we can't create the life we want on our own. They're filling some need that we haven't been sovereign over in our life, yeah? And until we basically, so it doesn't, we say, well, I've done so much inner work. Well, look, how much are you worth on the planet? I've done so much inner work. And let me be honest with you, my whole life, I've had to go up and down, fail, fall flat on my face, keep going, right? I've been in personal development since I was about 12. I started reading books, yeah? At 15, I was... again, going to events and stuff. I've done it my whole life, and let me honestly tell you, I've had some big successes and some massive failures. And so I've gone through patterns, I've gone back to narcissists, I've had ups and downs in every area of my life. And when do I stop growing myself? When I'm dead, basically, right? So I see personal development, healing, our investment in ourselves as a center point, a lifestyle. It's not something that I do a lot of inner work and then I'm done. In fact, the tools I give you in Sovereign, the reason I've opened it for a year is because I want you to you keep doing the same thing. The people that succeed in growth and healing and personal development are the people that apply the same principles over and over and over again. They refine their mastery of them as life shows up with different obstacles and different things that we get to transcend. So our personal development, healing, growth is a lifestyle. It's a commitment to ourselves. It's not something we ever get done, but we also can radically transform, which means that, like, now I'm not going to ever be in a narcissistic, abusive relationship. Will narcissists target me? Sure. Can they disrupt things in my life? Well, yeah. They can try to, but how I handle it is different. How I grow is different. How I get back up is different. Yeah. What you'll notice about people who've done a lot of this work is that they fall. Things happen, life happens, but the way we get back up, the way we bounce back, the way that we rise, our rise is always higher as well. Our rock bottom gets higher, so the balance changes, and our elevation gets higher each time as we learn. So it's not, wasted, the work you've done, but every piece of work you've done has got you here for a reason, and now you're ready for something else and a next level of consciousness, right? Which is what I'm here for. So I want you to look for growth. Your test of your growth is not whether you've relapsed. It's if you do relapse, how aware, conscious and different am I in it? Yeah. Look at what need in me. What's the gap that the narcissist represents to me that has never been filled perhaps in my whole life, or I don't think I can self-source? What do I believe in my life I can't have without what they represent to me? And again, it's the mask, in the illusion, they project that unmet need, that they're the solution to it because you're not sovereign in it yet, right? And that's a journey. So we need to know that. Track your progress in the cycle, accept and really work hard on not being frustrated with yourself. not just what are you making it mean, that I'm a failure, that I can never break free, that perhaps I should just put up with this. I know that I went back to narcissists many times over. I'll tell you some of the subconscious reasons I did it, right? And this is another big one that I need to actually, goodness me, I'm so glad I just thought of this because I wrote it in my notes. Another thing when we leave a narcissist, right? Because we've been in fight and flight and in a very familiar cycle, and the brain loves what's familiar, it hates what's unfamiliar, even if the familiar is abuse. What tends to happen when we get on our own and in more peace is our body starts releasing the trauma. It wants to release what it couldn't process in the fight and flight response, in the kind of traumatized state that we have to be in around narcissists. So I've talked before about the emotional withdrawal, and like getting yourself energetically ready before you leave so you don't have a big crash, but you're always going to have some kind of crash because it's like withdrawal. So when we actually get away from the narcissist, there's a whole process of detoxification of withdrawal symptoms emotionally. And if you are willing to ride them out and process them, you will heal what's unhealed. And again, my processes teach you how to do that, and my private coaching, because, right, the reason a lot of us go back is the emotional withdrawals hit us, the withdrawal symptoms from the trauma bonding, and all the unprocessed trauma comes up to the surface wanting to be dealt with, but not all of us know how to deal with it. And so we think, well, we're better off there because it seems it gets worse before it gets better. Many times in life, when we make big changes, it gets worse before it gets better. That does not mean it's going to stay getting worse. Actually, it will always get far better than it was if you can stay through the process and the journey, right? So it's the emotional withdrawals that we're often not prepared for, don't understand. And on the other side, we might be handling depression, isolation, not knowing how to connect, not knowing how to rebuild our lives. All the flashbacks, the memories might be coming up because of the body wanting to purge. It's a normal process, like if you were withdrawing off heroin, right? But we're not prepared for it. And so in the middle of it, and it can go on for a certain amount of time, depending on what support you've got and, you know, how you're navigating it and how much is stored in your body, which again, it's why if you can come into a community like mine, it really helps. It can be pretty scary in that sometimes when you're not knowing what's really going on. And then when you realize what's really going on, it's your body purging rather than, you know, the message of, it's worse on the other side. It sometimes gets a lot worse, guys, before it gets better. Just it's temporarily. Like I talk about loss, you know, sometimes we go through the losses we go through, sometimes they're very severe, but they're temporary losses in order to gain. It's temporary withdrawal symptoms and processing of emotions in order to come back to our wholeness, in order to come back to being very regulated and very strong in a new way. So that's what I wanted to say on that. I mean, again, some of the reasons we got to the narcissist is, you know, no other options. We don't feel we've got any other options. And again, that's where we have to work on our energetic field. Because when we get energetically strong, we see possibility. When we're energetically weak, we only see very small options for us. And in the moment when we're not energetically strong, there may be no other options. So then we have to work on ourselves in a new way, right? Whatever work you've done's got you here. And now I've got other stuff that will help you evolve in a new way that you couldn't do without doing some kind of foundational awareness, right? People on my channel tend to be fairly aware. Like you must have done something to have got you to the point where you're ready for, you know, the final kind of elevation, because everything you've done matters. You know, it's not wasted, but it is a lifestyle of our continuing to come into our wholeness, into our healing, into our growth, right? So it's never wasted. It's a lifestyle. I put, you know, part of self-partnering, what I teach is putting our well-being and ourselves and our journey first at the forefront, right? We have to do that. Yeah, not at the cost of others, but we can't keep sacrificing ourselves, right? Because it doesn't feel good and it just damages us overall. So Sovereign, if you want to join, it is open. I'm going to double the price, right? Not straight away. You've got about 30 days. The reason being that normally I live support it for 6 weeks. I was launching it every 2 months, and I would give you coaching and laser coaching and support in the comments and stuff for a 6-week period. I'm keeping this group open until next year, till August 30th, so that we get the chance to build a really good because I'm going to be doing a lot more Q&As and really wanting to support you over a year journey, the price is going up, because it's a lot more support over a lot longer time, which I'm really excited about, but obviously I can't do it for the same price. So if you want to get in now, it's going to stay at the 555. If you want to get in next month, it's going to go up to 1111. So links are in the comments, guys. Keep commenting what you want help with. The thing is, like, you can learn a lot on the internet, but you'll never get the level of elevation you'll get from that kind of support, you know? And so it's like, it's a focus group, it's focused on particular things that you get to keep reapplying, that will keep keeping you in alignment and keep you elevating. And I'm really excited to bring a community together in it so that we get to elevate. You know, the breakthroughs we're going to have in the next 12 months are going to be extraordinary as we keep claiming our authentic selves and get the coaching to actually rebuild your life. I've also just launched a manifestation channel, which is called Manifest with Ellie. That's at Manifest with Ellie, I think. And I have a membership called Live Fully Now, but that's for really if you want to just plug into it's a cheaper offering, but it's like if you want to plug into manifestation. But the biggest block to manifestation is trauma. So if you haven't done the healing work, if you're not in Sovereign, or you haven't done, you know, you don't feel like you think you've got healing to do, start with Sovereign, and then you might want to join Live Fully Now as well to just plug into like really becoming like better at manifesting. But manifestation and how you create your life is covered in Sovereign. The pillars of that are covered in Sovereign. So please keep commenting, please keep liking, subscribing and sharing. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon.